At 6:02 p.m. And we'll do the flag salute. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
There we go. Okay. And we'll have roll call by the clerk, please.
Councillor Bullen.
Here.
Councillor Dykstra.
Here.
Councillor Nassar.
Here.
Councillor Rees-Kemp.
Here.
Councillor Steinhebel.
Here.
Councillor Olfers.
Here.
Thank you. First up, we have the consent calendar. We have the Lebanon City Council agenda for November 10th, 2021 tonight. We have the council minutes from October 13th, 2021. And we have the liquor license for Tallman Brewing, a new brewery public house application.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion passes. The consent calendar is passed. First up, we have public comments. And let's see, it sounds, Kim, did you have any specific order?
I believe Kay got in first.
Okay. Kay Cortez, if we can move her, do we need to move her from one room to another, or? Kay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, I can. Go ahead.
All right. Is it to Chief Frank Stevenson, Paul Aziz, and the City Council. And I also have one of my neighbors here, and the other 2 or 3 couldn't make it. But anyways, good evening. My name is Kate Cortez. In April of 2020, we purchased our home at 310 North 2nd Street. I began to observe my neighborhood for the safety of our community. I believe at the end of August, I contacted Jason Rush with the City Maintenance Department. My concern was a new painting yellow curb. Many people from the medical school were parking around our home and others. He said he would take a look at it and get back to me. As time went on, the weather set in. The weather didn't permit work to be done, and we would have to wait for spring. I want to thank Ron Whitlatch for getting the big pothole in front of the Lebanon Police Department repaired. There were additional 25-mile-an-hour signs placed in the neighborhood as well. The new curb painting in front of our home was to stop the medical students from parking. Just recently, I reported 4 to 5 vehicles parked around our property and others. They repainted the curbing across the way as well, the corner of Mary Street and 2nd Street. They also repainted the curb coming out of the medical school as well and across the street from our home. There is still more repainting to do in time, but I know it'll be done for the fact because of the teamwork that's been done before. The neighbors weren't happy about it as I was cussed out because they as well were parking along the street. They aren't homeowners, but rather renters, and made several remarks of having lived here for 12 years and never had a problem before. But for one, I do care. Thanks to Dan Albanese, Community Services Officer, for getting the broken cars off the street that needed to be removed and for always taking my calls. Special thank you to Jason Rush for taking my calls, my emails, and following through to make sure our street would be safer. I also wanted to mention Jacob Snodgrass from the Albany Eastern Railroad for fixing the railroad track on the street. It was greatly needed. I have talked on several occasions to Ron Whitlatch about a 4-way stop and a new curb painting on the south side of our home. The people don't pay attention to the speed limit driving north and south. They do not seem to slow down. And recently I've noticed our neighbor's company parks on the south side of our home. So when we drive out of our driveway, It blocks us from seeing oncoming cars. If a car is turning left right off of North 2nd Street to Mary, and a person is at the stop sign, there is no room to get through. This too has been discussed with Ron Whitlatch, and he suggested for me to address this to the city council. This particular section of the street isn't safe if a car is parked there. When it is foggy just recently, I could see the potential accidents happen. I believe a four-way stop and new curb painting would prevent accidents from happening. Drivers don't slow down. We have kids walking to school every morning, and it would be safer for all of us. I had a neighbor whose parked car was there on the side of her house right across from us, got sideswiped, ended up being hit and run accident. Several of our neighbors would like a safe place to live, and many agree with me about a four-way stop intersection at Mary Street and 2nd. I would ask you to consider my suggested improvements for our neighborhood. I thank everyone who has been extremely helpful in aiding in my cause. Respectfully, Kay Cortez. And I presented some pictures to Kim today. I don't know if Paul, you were able to observe them, but those are all the things that got done with the teamwork of Lebanon. Our neighbors are grateful for the ones that cared, and the street looks wonderful. And Ron Whitlatch did get some pictures today of the intersection that's going to need to be repaired, but I said we needed to breathe a little bit. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. And
Thank you.
Dan
Go ahead.
Albanese came by the other day and he said, "Oh my God, I haven't seen Lebanon being painted so yellow as much." All the yellow painting, we both cracked up.
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. It's nice to hear the positive comments from the community too, when our staff does things like that and works on problems that you have. And I know you've been before us before and trying to address other issues. So those pictures help too. We did get those in email today before the meeting. So we did get a chance to look at those, and I really appreciate that. Ron, are you on? Could you come on for just a second?
Ron is not on tonight.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe at the next meeting, then we could talk to Ron about that particular issue. Because without him, it's kind of hard to discuss it we just don't know the ramifications, and he probably would know it a lot better than we would at this point.
Yeah, I believe that the intersection does not meet traffic warrants for a four-way stop. And so it really pushes that decision into more of a council policy for whether or not the council would want to go that direction, which is why Ron said she would need to bring the discussion to the council table, asking for that. There is traffic there. Certainly there are cars that go through there, but not enough to warrant a four-way stop.
Okay. Maybe we could ask Ron. We don't need to do anything in depth just to get started, but maybe just kind of an overview and bring that back to us next month at our next meeting, so we can at least look at it and just see.
Okay.
And my neighbor Tony wants to say something about when he pulls out of his driveway. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm Tony Heinzman. I live at 91 West Mary on the corner of Mary and 2nd. Our driveway is really close to the intersections. When we're backing out and people are speeding through, a lot of times they don't stop. They just go around the car. We don't hardly have time to get back in the driveway and get out of their way because they're coming at us from north and south, two directions. So that's a big concern of mine.
Yeah, I could see that. When Ron comes back with us, we can discuss alternatives too. If it's not a four-way stop, there might be some other alternatives that Ron can come up with. That would be something that would make things a little safer there.
Okay,
So
Paul.
we'll discuss that next month. Thank you for your bringing that to our attention.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Kay.
Okay.
Okay, so next up, Cassie Cruz, are you on?
Hello.
Hi, Cassie.
Hey, everybody. So yeah, Cassie Cruz, your downtown Main Street manager with Lebanon Downtown Association. Actually, we had a really great month last month, and we had a really great first Friday. So kind of talk about some highlights from last month. We ended up going forward with our downtown trick or treat, which we ended up having everyone's participation that we've had in years past. We kept the highway open, so just a huge shout out to like the city of Lebanon's maintenance department for letting us use their barriers that we were able to keep traffic at bay. Huge thank you to Mr. G for being an excellent traffic kind of pedestrian crossing guard for me there. Yeah, he was excellent. Huge thank you to the fire department for coming out and being a great anchor for us. We got people to go all the way down to where like the main event is. Excuse me. And so we just had a lot of families come out for that. We had a really great costume contest. So huge, shout and thank you to like all of our volunteers, because really, if it wasn't for a community to bring this event together, this would not have happened. We had the Hocus Pokey dancers come out, so that was a lot of fun. We actually was not quite as many families as we had in years past, which was nice. In some regard, it was able to create time for people to stop, for me to take pictures, and people to take pictures with the many different festivities that we had going on. But it was a really fun time, and we had a lot of business owners. I ended up actually making 2 candy runs to Rite Aid because we had some first time downtown businesses that were not expecting as much foot traffic. I had one business owner say to me, it's already been an hour in and I've given out 750 pieces of candy. I'm giving it one at a time. I go, you're going to give out more than that. Give me a second. I'll go get you some. So, but it was good. It was good to have that many people in response. NTech came out, so that was a lot of fun. So people outside of our downtown area came into downtown and lined the streets, and of course our downtown businesses were involved as well. And then we had our belated but always fun art and wine walk this last Friday. Actually, we had 9 businesses come into downtown between distilleries, breweries, and wineries for the tasting. I sadly was not able to be in attendance. I'm actually recovering from surgery, but what I did hear was like over about 100 people showed up downtown for that event. So that was excellent. So that was a fundraiser for the Downtown Association that went really well, and it was really well received. So we're thinking about doing another one potentially that does not have an alcohol related to it, so we can get minors involved in that as well, and have that one geared up for kids. So, but more to come on that one as we discuss things further with our Arts Commission and everybody else. So First Fridays went really well with that, and then we actually another kind of event, and it's something I want to make the council aware of. I attended the the Oregon Main Street Conference this last couple weeks ago. And, something I know I always boast about and I'm happy about, but it's great when it's seen not just on a national level, but also, on our hometown level of Oregon. But, our collaboration piece as a community to make things happen and get things done, whether it's, to get housing in that's affordable, whether it's to make, events happen within our community. We work together in our collaborations between local government, and nonprofit, and all the different areas. It really does allow, it's seen and it's noticed. So Lebanon was brought up for communities that get things done, and people's kind of like they want their communities to be on that same page. So that was good to hear. But one of the things in with that, I was able to go to the national. This is something that was not necessarily through the Downtown Association, but it does relate to downtown and our continued efforts here. But I was able to go to the National Organization for Human Service conference a couple weeks ago, the week after the Oregon Main Street Conference. And the main kind of underlying tone, no matter what session I sat in, was the more that we invest into our communities, the more that we elevate our people. And, that's something I see us doing within our community here, whether it's creating better housing, like I said, it's affordable, whether it's us investing into our community parks and our city streets, And, that was kind of one of the undertakings that I see that the Lebanon Downtown Association can really benefit our underdeveloped areas of our community by bringing arts and expanding that arts program into places like sidewalks and creating spaces for people can interact with art. So it kind of was invigorating to go to both of those conferences and seeing kind of that underlining message of the more that we bring to our community, the better the more we will thrive. And I'm excited that, like I heard from like I said, the Oregon Main Street Conference, that we are a community that gets things done. And I'm happy to be a part of that. And I'm grateful that it's seen on so many different levels. So I'm excited to continue to see us develop that and make that happen. And then also for future reference for things, we do have our First Fridays coming up, of course, in December, which will be the Yuletide Christmas, which will have that wassail walk that so many people enjoyed. So you can try wassels, different wassels from different locations. We have the holiday open house that was coming up, which is your Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I believe that's the 27th. That is shop small. So when you think about shopping for the holiday season, maybe think about hopping off of Amazon for a moment, taking a stroll downtown, checking out some of our newer stores. We had Red's Boutique that just opened up. That is amazing. It has a wonderful, awesome fashion design. You have the Lebanon Mercantile that's down there. And of course, there are always great certificates for eateries. So please check out, think about downtown when you are shopping for this holiday season. Come downtown and for this time go around. But and then, of course, we have our Jingle Bell Run that's coming up on December 4th as well. So you can find more information out on our homepage on Facebook and, of course, on our webpage at LebanonDowntownAssociation.com. But that's about all I have about.
Thank you, Cassie. Any questions? All righty. We will move on to the regular session. Number 1, declaring the existence of unforeseen occurrence or condition and authorizing a budget amendment for the 2021-2022 budget. Matt Apkin.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As many of you are aware, we start the budget process quite early in the year, well before the fiscal year starts. And as time passes, we discover things that need to change. And so we come back to council to request these changes be made so that we can appropriately accomplish what we need to as a city. Or as it allows us to do that a few different ways. This time we're selecting a way to declare the existence of an unforeseen occurrence or condition when we prepared the original budget. This allows us to do a few less hoops to jump through to get things accomplished, and some of these things we want to get moving quickly as we talk about them. But one of the things that we had an issue with was the stormwater pipe that we need to replace up on Industrial Way. And we originally budgeted $75,000 for it. The bids came back that you guys approved at the last council meeting for $128,000-ish. And so we want to make an adjustment using beginning fund balance, which was budgeted low. So we have money already in that fund to use to accomplish this project. It just wasn't appropriated through the budget process. And so we'd like to take 70,000 of those dollars and appropriate them so we can accomplish that project and have some money left for contingency there. And then we've also had 2 other road improvements that need to be made that are part of developer agreements or developer funded projects that we did not budget the correct amount for. We've noticed over the past year as construction has been booming that costs to construct anything have increased pretty significantly. And so we were under budget on a lot of those projects, and one of them had a scope change that required a lot more money as well, but both those are being funded by those developers. But because of that, we're coming and requesting that you guys approve the resolution to amend the budget. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Okay. See none, I'll have the city attorney read the resolution title.
Resolution number 2021-22, a resolution declaring the existence of unforeseen occurrence or condition and authorizing a budget amendment for the City of Lebanon 2021-2022 budget.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2021-22. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The resolution passes. Okay, next up, repealing and replacing chapter 3.12 of the Lebanon Municipal Code regarding the transient room tax.
Evening again. One of the things that's happened over the last several years is the Department of Revenue, and I guess the state legislature has made it possible for the state to collect the city's local transient lodging tax. In doing that, it would ease the city staff's burden of collecting that money. Often some of that money is likely maybe not collected for some smaller, maybe Airbnb places that the city doesn't necessarily have a lot of information on. And so the state has made it possible for us to partner with them. And to do that, we needed to update our ordinance so that it had the correct language in it that allowed them to enforce the rules the way that they kind of do it. It didn't really change our ordinance that much, just some wording. And because of so much of the wording change, it was easier to replace the whole ordinance rather than make a few kind of corrections throughout it. But if you do this, we'll come back next month with a intergovernmental agreement with the state to have them start collecting that tax for us. Are there any questions?
Questions? Okay, seeing none, have the city attorney read the ordinance bill number, please. Name.
Ordinance bill number 2021-18, ordinance number 2974, a bill for an ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance bill number 1993-10. I'm sorry. My son has somebody coming in the door. Ordinance number 2134, bill number 2000-29, ordinance number 2264, bill number 2002-35, ordinance number 2322, and bill number 2007-11, ordinance 2739 regarding Lebanon Municipal Code Chapter 3.12 transient room tax. And we're going to go over with Matt how to rename or title some of these ordinances. He always has the hardest ones to read.
It's not
Okay.
my fault.
Can we just make a motion for all of those? Or do we need to specify? I think Michelle should do every single one individually.
So moved.
I think we can do them all at the same time.
Okay, I had a feeling. Okay, it's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2974 and all those other ones that our city attorney mentioned. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The ordinance passes. Thank you, Trey. And
Aye.
okay, number 3, amending chapter 2.12 of the Lebanon Municipal Code regarding city park alcohol permits. And this is Nancy Brewer, city manager.
Oh, good evening, Mayor and Council. This is generally a housekeeping item. As you know, we have added an administrative position this year at Public Works, and they are doing all of the park permits. So actually the city recorder raised the question about why she was still reviewing alcohol permits for use in parks. As we reviewed the language, we decided, we needed to make a clear delineation between an alcohol use in park and alcohol sales in parks, because sales do require special OLCC licensing and require background checks, but use do not require either of those steps. So we wanted to make sure that that language was clear in the ordinance, and then wanted to take the city recorder out of the signature process, because really all she's doing is signing that, for example, the police chief has completed a background check. We figured since the police chief is doing that, he can sign off on it. For the use permits, Parks and Rec or Parks Department can sign off on that with Jason Williams as the director having that authority. So those are the changes proposed in this ordinance, and I'll answer questions.
Okay, any questions for Nancy?
Question.
Come out.
is this about the process, or is it about whether or not we'll work with nonprofits and other groups that want to provide, sale of alcohol during an event?
This is really just about process. We
Okay.
have Kim has kept a series of the applications that have come in for, and not a lot of nonprofits, but more like Conversion Brewing, having a concert in Strawberry Park, right? And they're doing that kind of every week. They get a special permit. They have to get a special OLCC permit because it's off premises. We do have groups that come in and use Cheetah Lake Park and might want to be able to sell alcohol there. They would have to get this special permit also. That process has been there, and we've been doing all of that work. So part of it is clarifying the language about the difference between the two applications, and the other part is taking a step out of the process just to streamline it.
Got it. All for streamlining. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing it, we'll have the city attorney read this more simple ordinance name.
Ordinance bill number 2021-20, ordinance number 2976, a bill for an ordinance amending chapters 12.12.022, 12.12.024, 12.12.026, and 12.12.028 of the Lebanon Municipal Code regarding city park alcohol permits.
Move for approval.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 2976. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, the ordinance is passed. Thank you. And Nancy, you're up for your city manager report.
I have a couple of highlights for you. One is we have been notified by the Oregon Military Department. They are making 2 buildings in the Lebanon area surplus. One of those is the Armory building that backs up to the Public Works compound. We've had a long kind of standing wait for them to put that on the market so that we could buy it. We have sent them notice of our interest in it. They don't have pricing on anything yet, so we don't know what it'll be. If we head down the path of wanting to acquire that building, we'll be back at council to have that conversation. Kind of want to see what they want for it before we make that firm commitment. Next one up, the hard infrastructure bill has basically passed at the federal level. We will be seeing money coming to Lebanon, but it's way too early for us to know how much and for what. And there are pots in that bill for streets, for bridges, for water and sewer lines, for lead water lines in particular. So we are keeping an eye on how those monies might come to local communities and lining up projects to be ready when we find out how much we would get. So I just wanted to say yay, because we have a lot of infrastructure needs here. It would be nice to get some of them addressed with federal dollars. And then I think you all know that the federal OSHA has passed into effect a temporary order for either vaccine requirements or weekly testing. Federal OSHA does not apply to local governments, but if you have a state OSHA that's adopted a state plan in compliance with federal OSHA, the state plan has to implement equal to or better than federal, and that does have to apply to city and local or state and local governments. So we expect at some point Oregon OSHA will promulgate rules that are at least the same as what the federal government has, and maybe more. We don't really know at this point. We do know that the federal rule has been contested in court. We're watching that progress through. It as it's written has a hard deadline of January 4th for implementation. And so we are also watching timelines here and starting to work through what potential policies would be that we would share with employees and how we would go about implementing those rules, just to be prepared, because we have some concern that we may end up with a pretty short timeline to make all of that happen if that goes forward. So just wanted to let you know we're keeping our eye on that and working through it. So that's all for me tonight.
Thank you, Nancy. Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Camille.
Nancy, under your report, we talked about 58 permits in September and total fees of $84,000. Looking at the list of larger construction sites, are we headed in the right direction as it relates to development and what we can expect in our future?
I think we are in a good spot. We've completed our housing needs assessment. We are working on, are getting ready to start working on, I'm drawing a blank on this, Kelly, the housing production strategy.
Yep.
We are getting ready to take on the last phase before a comprehensive plan update and economic opportunity analysis that really looks at how land is used and what's the highest and best use for that. We've got the West Side Interceptor going in. We have developers who are chomping at the bit for getting that sewer line in, because it will open up land in the south and west side of town that's not currently developable because of no sewer access. And in fact, we have a developer who has approached Ron asking if, in conjunction with opening up, in particular Stoltz Hill Road, they could also put a water line in at the same time, which would mean that we would dig up Stoltz Hill Runts and then pave it and not dig it up again for another 100 years or so, which would be beneficial, as opposed to putting a nice road in and then having a developer come in and dig it up to put the water line in. So we are in conversation about how that would work and how that project would be managed, because our dollars from DEQ funding that project are federal, and that requires a certain amount of oversight in how those monies are spent, and needing to make sure we're maintaining a hard separation between that and private dollars. So that conversation is being had. That project will open up a pretty sizable chunk of town for additional development. So we have a lot going on. We recognize with the college, we have a lot of students coming to town. As they continue to ramp up enrollment, I think that's one of the reasons you see a lot of apartments being built, but we are seeing also some single family home development proposals coming in. So trying to get into that complete mix of housing. And I don't know if Kelly wants to add any more to that.
I think generally the answer would be, in our comprehensive plan that was done in 2004, we had population projections in terms of what's needed for housing and employment and all that kind of stuff. If you look at the 2020 population statistics that were provided in the census, we're pretty much right on target within a few hundred people. And so that means that our zoning scheme and our development patterns have really come along in line with what was planned. And Western University has absolutely added some additional economic drivers in terms of the needs of the different types of housing that are proposed. Our housing needs assessment identified that there was a significant need for a number of apartments to be constructed for our population. And based off of the available land that is currently available without the West Side Interceptor, you're looking at infill type developments, which are smaller parcels that are more conducive to apartment type development rather than single family home development. And so you're seeing one type of development based off of the market demand, the new expansion of Western University, and the type of land that's available. As the West Side Interceptor comes in, as Nancy mentioned, you're going to see different types of development opportunities available. But I think in looking at the comprehensive plan, we're right where we're supposed to be. And seeing the growth that we have is right on track.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I just love asking them questions because they show us how smart and intelligent they are every single time. Thank you, Miss Nancy. Thank you, Miss Kelly.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see, next up items from council. I've got a couple things. First of all, I want to give kudos to the Lebanon Fire District for the work they did. I hate to do this to Jason. I don't want your head to get too big, but you guys did a fantastic job. I mean, the fire on Main Street could have been huge, could have been lives lost, there could have been injuries, and there wasn't. And we really appreciate your guys' service and work out there. Thank you very much. And please pass that on to the troops because you guys did a great job. Let's see, the BLT has the Old Mill Trail ribbon cutting Wednesday, the 17th, next Wednesday at 11 a.m. out at the Old Mill Trail. So that should be a fun event and very exciting to see that being connected. Santiam Excursion Train, if you haven't heard it, if you haven't seen my page, there's a steam train in town and I'm a little bit overly excited. There's going to be a ribbon cutting for that Friday the 19th at 3 p.m. over at the Santiam travel station. And that is going to be an amazing economic development thing for us because it's going to bring people from all over the world. Train buffs are kind of crazy and they will come from far and wide to come see a steam train because there just aren't that many around. And the fact that Rick Franklin Corporation has made this one wheelchair accessible. You can get on it with a stroller, a walker. It's going to be quite a great thing for our community. The excursion train in and of itself is pretty cool, but to have a working restored steam train, pretty darn amazing. So pretty excited about that. That's all I have. Council, what do you guys got? Nothing? You just want to get to know the meeting, I know.
Well, if you want to come down and help unload a bull elk that's coming into the soup kitchen in about 15 minutes, you're more than welcome.
What was it? A whole what?
A bull elk. The state police are
bull elk.
bringing one in that got
Wow.
poached.
Wow.
So we're going to look like a crime scene by the time we're done grinding.
And that was donated to me?
Do what?
Was that donated to the soup kitchen?
Yes, the state police are bringing it in. It was donated by poachers.
Oh, wow. Oh, very good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll be having elk over at the soup kitchen.
Yes.
Okay.
And I do want to say one thing. I saw some police action over on Sherman today, and Frank's guys did a great job, even blocking traffic. And I don't know what was going on. Don't care to know what was going on, but they had, it looked like the entire day shift there, all 4 units.
Well,
so, and I know they towed off a car.
very good.
They can take a few of the people too for, you know, but that's okay.
Well, there's the chief right there.
Yeah.
You. All right. Anything else from anybody?
Can we get an update on our website? I saw in the report talking about updates coming soon.
On the front page, or where was that at?
I believe that was Miss Nancy's report.
What? On our webpage?
Yes. Or was it just Facebook?
I'm not sure what you're talking about exactly.
I'm looking for it now. But I don't see it now. Are we planning any updates? Then let me just
these are just the web page updates. I think that you may be referring to are things that the city recorder's office does. So any announcements we have, press releases, hour changes, any of those kinds of things, they do all of our website updates for most of the operational areas.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah, and post on Facebook every day. So
Yeah, if you've got questions, just email Nancy with the, like, where it's at and what the issue is, if there's a bad date or something.
yeah.
Okay. And oh, I did forget, I'm going to do a little self-promotion here. We've got the Cascade Christmas lights is coming up. We're taking donations again this year for the Lebanon Soup Kitchen. And we're also accepting certain items for the soup kitchen. And we'll be starting on Thanksgiving night, like always. So come on out and support the soup kitchen and have fun with your family. So with that, any other questions or comments?
I was going to say, did you move the Christmas tree to the Academy Park or the Ralston Park?
I think they're still doing Ralston Park again this year.
The
Okay.
decorations are going up in Ralston Park right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there was talk about it, but I don't think that happened. So,
Okay.
okay.
Mayor?
So is there
Mayor?
any, oh, go ahead. Come on.
I would like to give kudos to Cassie Cruz and the team there. The Halloween. That really was fantastic. I wasn't expecting that many families out there. And even though she said the numbers were lower, it really was amazing to see so many children and their parents out there in the rain, I might add, enjoying that moment and the community coming together. I know it's probably people were busting at the seams to get out, but it was really a nice event. For such a small non-event, it really was a nice large event to me to see those many families out there. So I compliment them and all the businesses that were involved.
Good. Anything else? Okay, seeing none. Is there any other comments from the press? Would you like to ask any questions? I know we have Cody on here. Any questions from the press? Don't see any. Okay.
I don't think I have a working mic. Oh, I do have a working mic. No questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Cody, thanks. Okay, next scheduled meeting is December 8th, 2021, 6 p.m., regular session. And tonight we have an executive session. And I will have the city attorney read the information about the executive session.
We just need to make sure that we've got everybody out of the rooms. We want to give it a second here. Or do you want me to read it first and then go in?
Let's go ahead and get the folks out of the rooms.
Mr. Mayor, just give me about 1 minute to clear the room and close off the stream. Thank you so much.
Thank you.